Welcome back to Sleepy Science Tales. It's great to have you with us here this evening. Before we drift into the stars together, I would love to know where you are listening from around the world. If you feel comfortable, you are welcome to leave a comment and share your corner of the planet. It's always wonderful to see this calm little community resting under the same night sky. And tonight, that sky will guide us as we begin a peaceful journey through our home in the cosmos, the beautiful Milky Way. Let your shoulders drop. Allow your breathing to settle into a soft rhythm. Imagine that the weight of the day is slowly loosening, like grains of sand falling away. With each breath, you are sinking a little deeper into comfort, and the world around you is beginning to soften. As your body relaxes, your mind becomes quiet and spacious, ready to wander gently through one of the most extraordinary places in all of science, the galaxy that embraces our sun, our planets, and every star you see in the night sky. The Milky Way may seem like a familiar idea, something we hear about often, yet it carries a quiet wonder that is easy to overlook. It is more than a streak of light across the darkness. It is a sprawling island of stars, stretching across space in a graceful spiral more than 100,000 light-years wide. Inside this vast glowing structure are billions of stars and countless drifting worlds, each one glowing softly, like a candle in an endless night. Tonight, we begin at the edge of that soft river of light. Picture yourself lying comfortably on your back in a silent, open field. The air is cool. The grass beneath you is lightly scented. Above you, the sky is perfectly clear. As your gaze drifts upward, you begin to see a faint, hazy ribbon stretching from horizon to horizon. It looks delicate, almost like a veil, yet it contains the ancient light of distant suns. This is the Milky Way as our ancestors knew it, long before telescopes or science. They saw it not as a galaxy, but as a pathway for spirits, or a celestial river, or the dust of creation. Allow that image to glow in your mind, a soft river of starlight flowing quietly above you. Each tiny point of light is a star, and many of those stars hold their own families of planets. Somewhere, far within that glowing band, our own sun circles gently around the center of the galaxy. It takes hundreds of millions of years for one complete orbit. Everything moves slowly, patiently, and it has done so for billions of years. Imagine rising slowly from the field. Your body feels weightless now, lifted by the quiet breeze of your imagination. The ground drifts away beneath you as you float higher and higher, yet always feeling safe and calm. Soon, you drift beyond the clouds. The entire Earth becomes a soft, round marble, glowing faintly in the starlight. As you move farther into the darkness, you see the Milky Way stretch across your view, no longer faint, but vibrant and full. You drift closer, and the river of light becomes a broad, swirling ocean of stars. The spiral arms of the galaxy unfurl like gentle waves. They twist in elegant curves, filled with clusters of newborn stars glowing a soft blue, and older, golden stars that shine with a quieter, warmer light. If you listen closely, you can almost imagine a faint cosmic hum, the quiet breathing of a galaxy that has existed for more than 13 billion years. You slowly drift into one of the spiral arms. The stars appear scattered, yet there is a graceful pattern to their arrangement. Gas clouds drift like slow-moving tides, rich with dust and glowing with soft pink and violet light. These clouds are nurseries where stars are born. In the calm silence of the galaxy, new suns ignite like tiny lanterns, filling their corners of space with warmth. Just beyond these clouds, you notice vast stretches of dark space. They look empty, yet even these shadowed regions hold mysteries. Dust can hide starlight, creating dark shapes that seem to drift across the Milky Way. Over time, gravity gathers this dust together, shaping it into new stars, new planets, and new possibilities. Nothing is ever truly still, yet everything moves at a pace that encourages the mind to slow down, breathe softly, and rest. As you continue drifting, you pass groups of stars that travel together like families. Some are locked in pairs, slowly circling one another. Others glide in small clusters, glowing with youth and energy. In many of these systems, planets orbit in peaceful silence, unseen from far away, but part of the galaxy's quiet story. Their atmospheres shimmer faintly, reflecting the light of their parent suns. Farther ahead, a glowing patch catches your eye. It is a nebula, a cloud of gas illuminated from within by bright newborn stars. The colors are gentle and soothing, a blend of pale blues, soft reds, and warm gold. As you move through it, the light feels close enough to touch, as if the stars are welcoming you. The galaxy feels endless, yet comforting. Everything is connected by the same cosmic gravity, the same slow dance that binds stars to their orbits and guides them across the ages. You glide deeper into this quiet, luminous ocean, your thoughts growing soft and slow. The Milky Way surrounds you like a calm, glowing blanket made of ancient starlight. You drift onward, ready to explore more of this gentle cosmic home, moving steadily toward the next chapter of the story. As you float gently through the glowing spiral arm, you begin to notice how the Milky Way reveals itself in layers, each one inviting you to slow down a little more. The deeper you drift, the quieter the universe feels. Even though there are billions of stars scattered through the galaxy, the space between them is wide and peaceful. This silence is not empty. It is full of possibility, full of history, and full of soft, ancient light that has traveled across unimaginable distances just to reach your eyes. Let your breathing settle again. Feel the soft rhythm of your inhale and exhale. Each breath carries you deeper into this calm, star-filled ocean. The spiral arm you are drifting through now is called the Orion Arm, sometimes called a spur, a smaller branch that sits between two of the Milky Way's larger arms. It is here, in this gentle celestial neighborhood, that our own sun and planets make their home. It is comforting to picture our solar system not as a lonely speck, but as part of a vast glowing river that stretches across the sky. As you drift farther into the arm, you begin to see clusters of stars gathering like small islands. Some clusters shine with a bright blue glow, filled with young stars that burn hotter and brighter than the sun. These stars live fast lives. They shine intensely, and then fade far more quickly than calmer, older stars. Their light feels energizing and vivid, yet the cluster remains peaceful, glowing like a lantern held gently in the darkness. Not far from these youthful clusters, you notice older, quieter groups of stars. Their light is softer, tinted with warm gold. These stars have existed for billions of years, glowing steadily and patiently. Their gentle color gives them a feeling of wisdom, as if they have witnessed countless ages pass by. They drift together in wide orbits, held by gravity in a graceful, almost timeless dance. A soft cloud of dust begins to appear ahead of you, stretching across the spiral arm like a drifting veil. This is interstellar dust, made of tiny grains that formed in the hearts of ancient stars. These grains float through the galaxy for millions of years, sometimes gathering together to create new clouds, sometimes spreading out until they appear as faint shadows across the Milky Way. As you approach the cloud, the starlight becomes dimmer, yet more mysterious. The dust glows faintly, tinted by the light of the stars behind it. You move gently into the cloud, and the colors around you become soft and muted. It feels a little like drifting through a cosmic fog. This cloud is part of a region known as a molecular cloud, a place where new stars may someday form. The gas within it is cold, calm, and thick enough for gravity to slowly pull it into dense knots. Over time, these knots will collapse, heat up, and eventually ignite into new stars. In a way, you are drifting through the earliest chapters of future suns, long before their light will shine across the galaxy. As you emerge from the dust, the starlight opens around you once again. Ahead, you begin to see brighter regions, glowing with gentle pink and violet light. These are nebulae, enormous clouds of gas and dust illuminated by young stars. The colors are soft, soothing, almost dreamlike. Some nebulae stretch across hundreds of light years, appearing like delicate drifting brushstrokes painted across the galaxy. You glide slowly toward one of these nebulae. Its shape is faint and cloud-like, yet full of detail when you look closely. Stars are being born inside it, lighting the gas from within. The light is gentle, never harsh, and it fills the space with a quiet glow. As you drift through it, the colors seem to swirl around you like soft cosmic currents. You can almost sense the slow creation of new worlds within these glowing folds of gas. Leaving the nebula, your journey takes you through a region filled with scattered stars, each one separated by enormous distances. From far away, they may look close together, but up close you can see how much silent space lies between them. This distance is one of the reasons the Milky Way feels so peaceful. Everything moves quietly, without rush, without noise. It is a place where time flows gently, measured not in years but in ages. Ahead, you notice a star that flickers in a gentle, rhythmic way. Its brightness rises and falls slowly, almost like a heartbeat. This is a variable star, a type of star that expands and contracts in a steady pattern. Some variable stars help astronomers measure the distances between galaxies. They act as cosmic lighthouses, their changing brightness offering clues about the scale of the universe. As you float past, the star's slow pulse feels calming, like a quiet signal guiding you deeper into the galaxy. A little farther on, you find yourself drifting near a cluster of stars surrounded by delicate arcs of dust. These arcs are the remains of planets or asteroids that once orbited the stars. Over millions of years, collisions and gravitational nudges have scattered the debris into soft, shimmering rings. They glow gently in the starlight, appearing as thin, graceful curves. Their shapes remind you that the galaxy is constantly changing, always shaping and reshaping itself in ways that happen far too slowly for the human eye to notice. As you glide through this region, you begin to sense the gentle pull of the galaxy's overall structure. The Milky Way is not flat. Its disk is slightly warped, bending upward on one side and downward on the other. This warp may have been caused by ancient interactions with smaller galaxies. The effect is subtle, yet it gives the Milky Way a dynamic, flowing shape, like a slowly moving wave frozen in time. You drift higher above the galactic plane now, rising just enough to see the spiral structure more clearly. The arms stretch outward from the center in sweeping curves, glowing with billions of scattered lights. The space between the arms is darker, yet full of hidden stars and quiet dust clouds. From this vantage point, the galaxy resembles a giant glowing pinwheel turning slowly in the dark. Let the image settle gently in your mind. A soft, swirling galaxy. A calm ocean of stars. A place where time moves slowly and light drifts patiently across the ages. You are floating in the middle of it, carried by a feeling of safety and softness. Below you, the Orion arm continues winding through the galaxy, carrying stars, planets, dust clouds, and nebulae along its gentle curve. Somewhere far below in that same arm, the Sun follows its long orbit, taking Earth and every living creature with it on a journey that lasts hundreds of millions of years. You drift slowly downward again, letting gravity guide you back toward the arm. The starlight becomes brighter around you. The nebulae glow softly in the distance. Dust clouds drift like faint shadows. Everything feels calm and unhurried. As you ease back into the spiral arm, a soft glow begins to appear ahead. It grows brighter, not harsh or intense, but warm and welcoming. Something larger waits in that glowing region, something ancient and powerful. You float toward it calmly, ready to explore the next stage of the galaxy's quiet, luminous story. The soft glow ahead grows stronger as you drift toward it, and slowly the shape of something immense begins to emerge. At first it appears as a faint haze, almost like distant fog hanging in the cosmic night. As you move closer, the haze brightens into a broad, luminous region stretching across a vast portion of the galaxy. This is one of the Milky Way's great star-forming regions, a place where countless suns ignite over millions of years. It is called the Sagittarius Arm, one of the major spiral arms of the galaxy, and it glows with the gentle radiance of young, newly formed stars. Let your breath remain soft as you approach this glowing arm. The light within it feels warm and gentle, inviting you deeper into its quiet brilliance. Inside the Sagittarius Arm are some of the most beautiful and active regions in the galaxy. These are the nurseries of future worlds, places where gas clouds collapse into bright new stars and planets begin to form from the surrounding dust. As you drift across the boundary of the arm, the light becomes richer, filled with subtle colors that blend smoothly together. Pink regions mark the presence of hydrogen gas illuminated by hot young stars. Blue clusters shine with the intense hue of newly ignited suns. Soft gold light drifts from older, calmer stars that have settled into long and steady lives. Everything is mixed together in a gentle tapestry of color and light. One glowing region draws your attention more strongly than the rest. It is a giant molecular cloud, a calm but active place where new stars take shape. The cloud is dark in some places and glowing in others, like a soft silhouette illuminated from behind. As you glide inside, you feel as if you have entered a vast, peaceful cavern made of drifting dust and quiet gas. The shapes around you stretch for hundreds of light years, yet the silence makes everything feel gentle and still. Within the cloud, you notice dense knots of gas slowly shrinking inward. These knots are the earliest stages of future stars. Gravity pulls the material together over millions of years, drawing it tighter and tighter until it eventually heats up and begins to glow. These faint knots are like seeds resting in the darkness, each one containing the potential to become a sun that lights an entire planetary system. As you drift farther along, you encounter a large, glowing region where young stars have already ignited. Their bright radiation pushes away the surrounding gas, carving out smooth, rounded shapes. These hollowed-out spaces, known as bubbles, form when powerful stellar winds create openings in the cloud. The edges of these bubbles glow with pastel colors, illuminated by the stars within. They look like shimmering gateways in the soft fabric of the galaxy. Moving gently through one of these glowing bubbles, you feel surrounded by a calm, warm light. The young stars ahead flicker with a soft brilliance, never harsh, always soothing. Their presence feels reassuring, as if they are guiding you deeper into the Milky Way's story. These stars will live long lives, shining steadily and offering warmth to whatever planets may form around them. As you exit the bubble, the cloud slowly fades behind you, and the stars open up once again. Ahead lies one of the galaxy's most remarkable structures. It is called the Galactic Bar, a long, glowing band of densely packed stars that stretches across the inner region of the Milky Way. From your vantage point within the spiral arms, the bar appears as a bright, subtle bridge of light leading toward the center. It pulses with warm golden tones, shaped over billions of years by the gravitational forces of the galaxy. You drift toward it carefully, feeling the space tighten as the stars grow closer together. The bar is a dynamic region where stars orbit in coordinated paths, guided by the gravity of the Milky Way's core. The movement of the bar helps shape the spiral arms themselves, creating a slow, steady pattern that influences how stars form throughout the galaxy. As you glide along its edge, the density of stars becomes incredible. You begin to see ancient stars, many older than the Sun, glowing with deep orange and red hues. Their surfaces have cooled over billions of years, yet their light remains steady and comforting. These ancient suns have witnessed countless changes in the galaxy, all while drifting calmly through time. A little farther on, you come across something even more remarkable. It is a globular cluster, a tightly packed sphere containing hundreds of thousands of stars. The cluster hangs like a brilliant jewel in the darkness. Its core shines with intense light, yet it is so symmetrical and harmonious that it feels peaceful and steady. Stars within a globular cluster orbit closely together, moving in slow, graceful paths, shaped by their collective gravity. You drift toward the cluster, feeling as though you are approaching a glowing cosmic cathedral. The light is rich and soft, created by countless stars shining together. Some of these stars may be among the oldest in the galaxy, lasting nearly as long as the Milky Way itself. Their warmth feels ancient, as if they hold memories of the earliest ages of the universe. As you float around the cluster, the stars shift gently in your vision, forming patterns of quiet beauty. Even though the cluster is dense, the movement is calm and steady. It is a reminder that even in a crowded region of space, the galaxy maintains a peaceful rhythm. Stars do not rush. They glide through their orbits with patience, shaped by the gentle pull of gravity. Leaving the globular cluster behind, you drift farther inward. The light begins to brighten once again, forming a soft, luminous haze. You are approaching the central bulge of the Milky Way, a rounded region at the center of the galaxy where stars are older, denser, and more concentrated. The bulge glows with a warm, golden color that fills the space like candlelight in a quiet room. As you move into the bulge, the stars around you multiply until it feels like you are surrounded by a glowing sea of light. The density is far greater than in the spiral arms, yet the space still feels calm. Each star shines with a steady, warm glow. You drift slowly between them, feeling as though you are gliding through a vast, ancient lantern forest. Deep within this central region lies the heart of the Milky Way, a place wrapped in mystery and wonder. The light here becomes softer but more concentrated, like the steady glow at the center of a flame. You are drifting towards something immense, something powerful, yet something that rests quietly in the cosmic night. The galaxy's core is close now, and its presence feels strong and serene. You're approaching the place where gravity shapes everything, guiding the stars in their orbits and creating the structure of the entire Milky Way. What waits at the center is both mysterious and elegant, a feature that defines the galaxy and anchors its quiet, swirling beauty. You drift closer, surrounded by warm starlight and gentle cosmic glow, ready to explore the heart of the Milky Way in the next chapter of this peaceful journey. The soft glow of the central bulge surrounds you as you continue to drift inward, carried gently through a landscape of warm, ancient starlight. Each star you pass feels steady and calm, shining with a kind of quiet endurance. These are some of the oldest stars in the galaxy, survivors of ages long before the sun was born. Their golden light feels comforting, like the warm flicker of candles placed deep within a peaceful century. As you move closer to the center, the light becomes thicker, almost like a soft mist made of starlight. The density of stars grows, yet their spacing remains vast enough to maintain a feeling of calm openness. They do not crowd or overwhelm. Instead, they glow together in a collective harmony that fills the space with a peaceful radiance. Every direction you look, you are met with soothing golden light. Ahead, in the deepest part of the galaxy's heart, lies one of the most remarkable and mysterious features of the Milky Way. Here, at the core, rests Sagittarius A, a supermassive black hole that has shaped the galaxy for billions of years. Even though the words black hole may sound intense, its presence here is not frightening. Instead, it feels steady and quiet, like a powerful anchor holding the galaxy together. You are not drawn into it. You are simply observing it from a safe and comfortable distance, surrounded by the protective glow of the stars. From afar, Sagittarius A cannot be seen directly. It is completely dark, its gravity so strong that even light cannot escape it. Yet its effects are visible all around. The stars near the core orbit it in smooth, sweeping paths, guided by its immense gravitational pull. These stars move more quickly than those in the outer regions, yet everything still feels steady and organized. Their movements resemble a gentle celestial dance, performed in slow, rhythmic cycles that have continued for millions of years. As you drift closer to this central region, you notice a swirl of gas glowing softly as it moves through space. This gas is warmed by nearby stars and by the gentle friction that occurs as it drifts toward the black hole. The glow is faint and soothing, casting soft orange and yellow hues across the core. It looks almost like distant lantern light moving slowly through the dark. You continue drifting around the central region, feeling the balance between gravity and starlight, between motion and stillness. The heart of the Milky Way is both powerful and peaceful, shaping the galaxy quietly over unimaginable stretches of time. Everything here moves with purpose. Nothing is rushed. The stars are patient, and their orbits tell a story written across millions of years. As you leave the innermost core, the stellar density begins to thin, but only slightly. You now find yourself drifting through the region just outside the central bulge, a place filled with tightly packed stars and rich clouds of interstellar dust. This is an area where older stars coexist with younger ones, each at a different stage of their cosmic journey. Their lights blend into a soft golden glow that creates a calming background across the sky. You drift past a particularly bright cluster of stars, young and vibrant, glowing with a rich blue light. Their brilliance stands out like small jewels within the broader golden glow of the bulge. These stars were formed in dense clouds that existed much closer to the center, shaped by the gravitational forces of the core. Their youth contrasts beautifully with the ancient stars nearby, creating a gentle balance of past and present. Farther out, you begin to see long, sweeping lanes of dark dust silhouetted against the bright glow of the bulge. These dust lanes stretch across space like soft, shadowed rivers flowing through a sea of light. They absorb the starlight from behind, creating delicate patterns that are both striking and peaceful. These shadowy ribbons are made of cold dust grains, drifting silently through the galactic center, waiting for the slow pull of gravity to gather them into new formations. You glide along one of these dust lanes, watching the glowing bulge fade behind it, as though you are gently slipping through a curtain of cosmic shadow. The dust grains sparkle faintly where the starlight catches them, creating a subtle sheen that moves across your vision like a quiet shimmer. The lane eventually widens, opening into a region where gas clouds drift peacefully, illuminated by distant stars and by the soft glow of the bulge behind you. One of these gas clouds catches your attention. It is large, smooth, and rounded, glowing faintly with a gentle greenish hue. This cloud is calm and cold, a slow-moving structure that has been shaped over millions of years by the motions of the stars nearby. As you enter the cloud, the light becomes softer and more muted. Everything feels tranquil, as though you are gliding through a serene cosmic fog. Inside the cloud, you notice small pockets of denser gas gathering in calm clusters. These pockets are the quiet beginnings of new stars, forming far more slowly than those in the busy spiral arms. The central region of the galaxy has many bright features, but it also contains these subtle, hidden regions where future stars rest in silence long before they ignite. As you drift onward, the cloud thins and eventually fades, revealing the star-filled bulge once again. The density gradually decreases as you move away from the core, allowing you to see more clearly back toward the spiral arms. Their soft, curved shapes stretch outward with gentle elegance. The arms form a natural pathway leading back to the calmer outskirts of the galaxy. You follow that pathway now, rising slightly above the galactic plane. From this elevated view, the Milky Way spreads beneath you in a sweeping arc of shimmering light. The spiral arms unfurl like long, luminous ribbons, each one filled with stars, dust, and glowing nebulae. The central bulge sits at the heart, warm and golden, surrounded by the elegant swirl of the galaxy's disk. Let your mind rest in this image for a moment. A spiral galaxy turning slowly in the night. A glowing heart at the center. Soft ribbons of light forming graceful curves across the dark. Everything moves together in harmony, shaped by gravity and time. You drift gently along the arc of one of the spiral arms, watching the light of countless stars shimmer beneath you. The motion is slow and peaceful, guided by the gentle pull of the galaxy's structure. The stars seem to stretch on forever, forming a path of quiet beauty that leads deeper into the outer reaches of the Milky Way. As you glide farther outward, the starlight thins again, opening into wider spaces. The spiral arm remains as a soft, guiding glow beneath you. but the density of stars becomes lower, giving you more room to breathe and drift freely. These outer regions feel calm and expansive, like a wide-open meadow beneath a starlit sky. Ahead, the spiral arm bends, curling gracefully toward the edge of the galaxy. You follow its path, carried along as though floating on a gentle cosmic tide. The space beyond grows darker, yet never empty. Soft points of light gleam in the distance, each one a reminder that even at the farthest reaches of the Milky Way, the stars continue to shine. You drift calmly toward that outer darkness, ready to explore the quiet edges of the galaxy in the next gentle chapter of this peaceful journey. The spiral arm beneath you continues to fade gently as you drift toward the outer regions of the Milky Way. These distant areas feel open and vast, almost like the far edges of a quiet forest, where the trees become thin and the world expands into wide, peaceful clearings. The starlight grows softer here. The points of light are more widely spaced, and the darkness between them feels calm and velvety, like a warm blanket spread across the sky. As you drift farther outward, you begin to sense the subtle change in the galactic environment. The spiral pattern that was so clear near the center grows looser and more delicate. The stars are not crowded but scattered in gentle arcs, each one glimmering faintly against the deep black of space. This region is known as the outer disk, a place where the Milky Way stretches out into graceful, thinning curves. Let your breathing remain slow. With every breath, imagine yourself floating deeper into this tranquil region. There is no urgency here, no sound, only the quiet presence of distant stars and the soft glow that surrounds them. The galaxy's outer disk is calm, gentle, and welcoming, a place where the Milky Way blends into the emptiness of intergalactic space. Below you, the spiral arm curves one final time, before weakening into faint streams of stars. These stars are like the last sparks of a slowly fading fire. They shine with dignity, though their numbers are small. Many are older than the sun, and their soft golden tones bring warmth to the quiet surroundings. They drift slowly in their wide orbits, completing circles that take hundreds of millions of years. As you continue outward, you notice occasional clusters of stars still lingering near the arm. These clusters appear like tiny lanterns hanging in the dark. Their combined light creates a delicate glow that stands out against the isolation of the outer disk. Some clusters contain only a few dozen stars, while others hold thousands. All of them move together like small families, bound by gravity and time. One cluster in particular draws your attention. It hangs alone above the curved edge of the spiral arm, glowing faintly with a mixture of young and old stars. As you approach, the cluster spreads out in soft patterns. Some stars are bright and blue, still warm from their recent formation. Others are older, glowing with a softer gold. The combination creates a quiet, harmonious beauty that feels gentle on the mind. You drift slowly through the cluster, moving between stars that sit light years apart, yet appear close from a distance. The space is silent and open, and your body feels weightless and still. The cluster seems to move with you, rotating in a slow, graceful sweep around its center. It feels like a small, celestial island floating in the vast ocean of the galaxy. Leaving the cluster, you find yourself drifting even farther outward, into territory where the stars become sparse. The darkness grows deeper and broader. Here, starlight feels subtle and delicate, appearing in small glimmers scattered across the sky. The distance between stars increases so much that the galaxy begins to feel like a painting with faint, scattered strokes. This region is known as the Outer Rim. It is one of the quietest parts of the Milky Way, sitting close to the edge of the galactic disk. You float into it slowly, letting the stillness settle around you. The stars here are older and cooler. The gas clouds are thin and widely spread. Everything moves slowly, guided by the soft gravitational pull of the galaxy as a whole. As you drift farther along the rim, you notice vast stretches of empty space. These dark regions are not empty in the true sense, but they lack the dense star fields of the inner galaxy. Instead, they hold faint wisps of gas and dust drifting quietly through space. These wisps are so thin that they are nearly invisible, yet they reflect just enough starlight to shimmer softly when viewed from the right angle. Ahead, the rim begins to curve upward slightly, revealing the faint warp of the galaxy's disk. From here, you can see the subtle bend toward the north and south, a natural distortion created by ancient gravitational interactions. This warp gives the Milky Way a graceful, flowing shape, as though the disk were a giant ribbon gently lifted at its ends. You rise slightly above the rim to take in the view. From this vantage point, the galaxy stretches below you in a vast, shallow bowl of glowing light. The spiral arms appear faint and delicate at this distance, blending smoothly into one another. The central bulge glows softly at the center, surrounded by a faint, shimmering disk. The outer edges curve upward and downward in a gentle wave. Let the sight rest in your mind, a glowing, spiraling ocean of stars. A soft warp rising from its sides, a warm, golden heart at the center. The Milky Way looks peaceful from here, serene and balanced, with every part contributing to its quiet beauty. As you drift slightly farther away, something new begins to appear in the darkness around the disk. Tiny points of light, faint but distinct, are scattered beyond the rim. Some are clusters. Some are individual stars. Others are small dwarf galaxies that orbit the Milky Way like distant companions. You glide toward one of these companions, drawn by its faint but steady glow. This particular dwarf galaxy looks like a small, elongated cloud of stars, drifting peacefully through the outer darkness. It orbits the Milky Way slowly, completing enormous loops over billions of years. Its stars are older and cooler, their light blending into a soft, silvery haze. As you approach, the stars in this dwarf galaxy become clearer. They are spread out in loose patterns, held together by their own small gravitational pull. The galaxy itself feels quiet and humble, like a small settlement far from a bustling city. Yet its presence adds depth and character to the Milky Way, showing that even the largest galaxies are surrounded by companions. Moving through the dwarf galaxy, you notice small trails of stars stretching behind it. These trails form when gravity from the Milky Way gently pulls stars away from the smaller galaxy, creating long, delicate streams. These stellar streams are like faint cosmic bridges, connecting the dwarf galaxy to the larger one. They drift slowly across the sky, forming gentle arcs that will remain for millions of years. Leaving the dwarf galaxy, you turn back toward the Milky Way. The entire spiral now fills your view, stretching wide and luminous across the dark. From this distance, the galaxy looks like a glowing, spinning disk of stardust, delicate and majestic at the same time. The spiral arms swirl outwards, the central bulge glows warmly, and the rim curves in a gentle wave. This is your home in the universe, a peaceful island of stars floating through the cosmic sea. Everything you have ever known rests within this glowing spiral. Every sunrise, every night sky, every distant world, every sparkling point of light. All of it is part of this vast and beautiful structure. You drift gently toward the rim again, feeling the calm presence of the Milky Way draw you back. The stars brighten softly as you move closer, and the spiral arms begin to take shape once more. The galaxy welcomes you, offering a sense of warmth and belonging that reaches across thousands of light years. You follow the soft bend of the outer rim, preparing to glide back toward the inner disk, ready to explore another layer of the Milky Way's vast and peaceful story. As you drift gently along the outer rim, the soft curve of the galaxy guides you back toward the broad, glowing disk. The darkness around you feels deeper here, but it is a peaceful kind of darkness, the kind that allows starlight to shimmer with quiet clarity. Every small point of light in this region feels precious, like a distant lantern shining in a calm and endless night. Ahead, a faint band of hazy brightness begins to appear. It stretches across the sky in a gentle arc, growing clearer with each moment. This haze is made of countless distant stars that lie just inside the rim. You are approaching the thick, diffuse region where the Milky Way's disk begins to blend with its halo, a vast sphere of ancient stars that surrounds the entire galaxy like a faint, glowing shell. The halo is not as bright as the disk, yet its presence feels profound. The stars in the halo are incredibly old, many formed in the earliest ages of the universe. Their light is soft and pale, almost silver in tone, as though time has gently washed their colors into quiet calm. You drift upward into this region, rising above the spiral arms, until the glowing disk spreads beneath you like a grand celestial tapestry. For a moment, allow yourself to float still. Beneath you, the Milky Way stretches from one horizon to the other, its spiral arms curling outward in smooth arcs. The central bulge glows like a warm ember in the distance, while the outer edges fade into shadow. The view is vast and peaceful, a reminder of both the scale and the serenity of the universe. As you move higher into the halo, the stars around you grow sparse, but their arrangement feels intentional. Many of the stars here belong to globular clusters, ancient spherical groups that orbit the Milky Way like distant companions. These clusters hang in the darkness like bright, shimmering ornaments, each one filled with stars as old as the galaxy itself. You drift toward one of the larger clusters. It appears first as a faint, concentrated glow, then slowly resolves into thousands of tightly packed stars. The closer you come, the more the light fills your vision, until the cluster surrounds you like a cosmic ballroom of glowing lanterns. The stars are so numerous that they seem to create a luminous fog, yet each one remains distinct when you look closely. Inside the cluster, everything feels balanced and harmonious. The stars drift slowly around the core in long, graceful arcs, following paths set by billions of years of gravitational pull. Their movement is steady and calm. Nothing rushes. Nothing disrupts the quiet rhythm that has been in place long before Earth ever formed. As you float deeper into the heart of the cluster, you notice subtle changes in the stars. Some glow with a warm golden color, their surfaces cooler than the sun. Others shine with a bluish tint, remnants of interactions that have rejuvenated them just enough to burn brighter for a time. The mixture gives the cluster a gentle, shimmering quality, like light reflecting from ripples on a still pond. Leaving the cluster, you drift farther into the halo, now surrounded by deep darkness and scattered points of ancient starlight. The silence here feels deeper than anywhere else in the galaxy. Not heavy, but peaceful and wide, like a quiet valley beneath a moonlit sky. You can see the Milky Way's disk stretching below you, but from this height, it appears thin and delicate, almost like a glowing ring floating in space. This vantage point reveals something subtle and beautiful. The galaxy's halo contains not only stars, but faint traces of gas and the delicate gravitational effects of dark matter. You cannot see dark matter, but you can sense its quiet presence in the way the stars move. Their motions follow invisible currents, shaped by the mass of something that does not shine, yet holds the galaxy together. As you drift through this region, you notice faint, ghost-like streams of stars stretching across the darkness. These are stellar streams, long trails created when ancient dwarf galaxies were gently pulled apart by the Milky Way's gravity. Their stars now form delicate arcs that sweep across the halo, creating patterns that curve like soft strokes of pale light. One stream in particular forms a graceful loop, almost like a celestial ribbon. You glide along its path, following the trail of faint stars as it winds across the halo. The loop eventually leads back toward the outer disk, showing how these streams weave through the galaxy like quiet signatures of its long history. Every star in the stream carries the memory of a smaller galaxy that once drifted near the Milky Way before slowly merging with it. As you follow the arc downward, the spiral arms of the Milky Way become clearer beneath you once again. The stars gather more densely. The colors brighten. Nebulae glow faintly within the arms, and dust clouds form soft shadows across the disk. You descend gently, letting gravity guide you back toward the glowing plane of the galaxy. The light brightens around you as the disk rises to meet your view. You pass through a region filled with faintly glowing gas, stretched thin across a wide area. This gas is part of the outer interstellar medium, a calm sea of particles that extends through the galaxy like a smooth background layer. Stars form less often here, but the gas still contributes to the Milky Way's subtle glow. Drifting deeper into the disk, you encounter faint lanes of dust, each one forming soft silhouettes against the starlight. The dust absorbs and scatters the light of distant stars, creating gentle patterns that sweep across the sky. These lanes act like quiet partitions within the galaxy, shaping the appearance of the spiral arms and guiding the flow of gas across the disk. You follow one of these dust lanes as it curves slowly inward. Along its edge, small, scattered star-forming regions glow with hints of pink and blue. These are the quiet outskirts of stellar nurseries, places where only a few new stars form at a time. Their light is soft and soothing, blending seamlessly with the broader glow of the disk. As you drift along the lane, you begin to feel the gentle pull of the galactic structure beneath you. The spiral arm you are approaching is broader than the one you left earlier. It contains a mixture of old stars, young clusters, and long stretches of gas shaped by the galaxy's rotation. The light here feels familiar, a reminder of the paths you followed through the inner disk. You settle into the slow drift of the spiral arm, letting the stars guide you forward. The familiar glow of the Milky Way surrounds you again, warm and serene. The arm stretches ahead in a long, graceful curve, inviting you toward its brighter regions. Far ahead, a soft glow rises gently from the horizon of the disk. It is subtle but steady, a warm shimmer that seems to signal another beautiful region of the galaxy. You glide toward it slowly, carried by the gentle currents of starlight and gravity, ready to explore the next peaceful chapter of this cosmic journey. The soft shimmer ahead grows clearer as you glide through the spiral arm. It expands into a smooth, glowing region that stretches gently across the galactic disk. This area is richer with gas and starlight than the outer zones you have just traveled through, and it carries a warm, inviting radiance that blends perfectly with the calm mood of your journey. It feels like drifting toward the quiet heart of a familiar, peaceful neighborhood in the night sky. As you move closer, you begin to see faint clouds of gas glowing softly in hues of pink, lavender, and pale blue. These colors form when the light of young stars illuminates the surrounding hydrogen gas, creating gentle patches of brightness that dot the spiral arm. These glowing clouds are called emission nebulae, and they are often places where new stars are being formed. Their light feels soft and welcoming, like small campfires scattered across a vast, peaceful landscape. You drift slowly between two of these nebulae, feeling the warmth of the starlight shift across your surroundings. The stars in this region are spaced closer together than in the outer disk, yet the environment still feels wide and open. The Milky Way's spiral arms are not crowded. They are spacious and balanced, shaped by long, graceful patterns of gravity that guide stars through their orbits like gentle currents in a calm ocean. Ahead, a more prominent nebula comes into view. It glows with a rich blend of colors that ripple across its folds like soft waves. Its inner regions shine with the light of newly formed stars, while the surrounding gas drifts outward in smooth, rounded shapes. The nebula feels alive, not in a hurried way, but in a patient, evolving rhythm that has been unfolding for millions of years. You enter the outer edge of the nebula, where the gas is thin and glowing faintly. The starlight becomes hazy, filtered through the drifting clouds. Everything feels slow and dreamlike. You glide deeper, moving through layers of soft light and dust that form intricate shapes in the space around you. Some regions appear carved out, while others form smooth, billowing waves that curl gently as they move. Inside the glowing region, you can see clusters of young stars clustered like pearls on fine threads. They shimmer in pale blue tones, their surfaces fresh and bright. These stars are much hotter than the sun, and their intense light floods the nebula with color. Despite their energy, the surrounding space feels calm and gentle, with no sound or disturbance. The nebula absorbs and diffuses their brilliance, turning it into soft clouds of color that drift gracefully through the dark. Leaving the nebula, you drift into a region where the spiral arm widens again. Stars of all ages fill the space. Some glow with a cool red light. Others shine brightly in warm gold. A few brilliant blue stars stand out like tiny flames. The mixture creates a gentle mosaic that stretches across the sky, a calm river of starlight flowing along the arm. As you travel, you pass through a region where stars gather loosely in groups. These open clusters form during the early stages of star formation. Over time, many of their stars drift apart, becoming part of the wider galaxy. But for a while, they remain together, moving slowly through space as families. You glide through one of these clusters, watching dozens of stars shimmer around you in scattered patterns. Each star has its own quiet story, its own path shaped by age, temperature, and history. Past the cluster, you notice faint dark shapes stretching across the spiral arm. These long, shadowed lanes are made of cold dust that blocks the light from the stars behind it. Although they appear dark from a distance, these lanes are full of potential. They are the birthplaces of future star-forming clouds. Over millions of years, these dust lanes may gather into dense regions that ignite with new starlight. You drift along one of these slender lanes, feeling the quiet shift in light as stars fade behind the dust. The lane gently twists and curves, shaped by both gravity and the rotation of the galaxy. The path feels serene, sheltered by soft shadow. Eventually, the dust begins to thin, and the starlight returns, unfolding around you in gentle waves. Ahead, you begin to see patterns forming in the spiral arm. Stars gather more densely along certain paths, creating subtle ridges of light. These ridges mark the places where the spiral density waves pass through the disk. These waves move slowly around the galaxy, guiding gas and stars into elegant curves that give the Milky Way its iconic spiral shape. The spiral arms are not fixed structures, but patterns that travel through the galaxy, influencing star formation as they pass. As you drift deeper into the arm, you encounter an especially bright group of stars forming a loose arc. These stars are fairly young and burn with a bright white-blue light. Their color is crisp and energizing, yet softened by the quiet environment around them. The arc they form is the result of the spiral density wave passing through this region, compressing the gas and creating the conditions for many stars to form at once. The arc stretches across your path, creating a natural gateway into another part of the spiral arm. As you pass through, you see more subtle structures ahead. Long, slender filaments of gas weave through the starlight, creating delicate threads that drift in and out of view. These filaments are shaped by magnetic fields and stellar winds, forming intricate paths that stretch for dozens of light years. Beyond the filaments, the starlight becomes softer once again. You have reached another calm region of the spiral arm, where stars are spaced farther apart and the darkness between them feels deep and soothing. This region feels peaceful, almost like a quiet clearing between two glowing forests of starlight. Farther ahead, a large open space appears. At first, it looks like a void, but as you approach, faint glimmers begin to appear around its edges. This region is known as a superbubble, a vast pocket of space cleared out by the combined winds of many massive stars. Their energy pushes gas outward, creating enormous cavities that take millions of years to form. The walls of the superbubble glow with warm colors, illuminated by the stars that carved them. You drift into the center of the superbubble. The space inside feels vast and echoing, though it is completely silent. The walls curve around you like the inside of a giant glowing shell. Stars of different ages sit along its interior, offering a gentle, diffused light that spreads across the region. The calmness here is profound. The superbubble feels like a grand, open chamber in the architecture of the galaxy. Leaving the center, you glide toward another glowing section of the spiral arm. The starlight gently thickens as you move into a region where the arm begins to curve inward again. This curvature creates a gradual pathway that leads back toward the denser parts of the disk, where star formation becomes more active and the patterns of starlight grow richer. The spiral arm opens into a wide, bright region where many stars are gathered in clusters and loose groups. The starlight blends into a soft glow that fills the sky around you. This region feels warm and familiar, like returning to a gentle, glowing valley after exploring distant hills. You drift onward, guided by the elegant curve of the spiral arm, ready to explore the next quiet chapter of the Milky Way's luminous journey. The gentle glow of the spiral arm continues to guide your path as you drift deeper into its wide, luminous curve. The starlight ahead appears to thicken in a soft and gradual way, almost like the sky brightening before sunrise. As you move forward, the colors become warmer, shifting from cool silvers and pale blues to soft golds and warm whites. You're approaching another active and beautiful region of the Milky Way, a place where stars form, grow, and drift apart over millions of years. As you enter this brighter part of the arm, you notice clusters of stars arranged in graceful patterns. Some clusters shine faintly, their light spread across wide areas. Others stand out sharply against the dark, glowing like small beacons in the night. These clusters represent every stage of stellar life. Some are young and restless, some are calm and mature, and others are fading gently, nearing the ends of their long lifetimes. A particularly bright group of stars catches your eye. Their combined glow is strong enough to light the surrounding gas, creating a smooth, luminous bubble around them. These stars are massive and powerful, burning through their fuel quickly, but shining with an intensity that shapes everything around them. Yet even their immense energy feels calm when viewed from this quiet distance. Their light spreads evenly across the spiral arm, creating a warm, peaceful shimmer. You drift closer to these massive stars, watching the subtle changes in their light. Their surfaces ripple with heat and movement, but from where you hover, the light appears steady and gentle. Surrounding them is a soft, glowing haze created by the gas they have eliminated. The edges of the haze fade smoothly into the darkness, like the blurred edges of a distant cloud on a warm afternoon. Leaving the bright cluster behind, you move into a region where the spiral arm becomes more intricate. Here, the stars and gas weave together in delicate patterns, almost like lacework stretched across the galaxy. Long, slender filaments of dust twist between the stars. They absorb the starlight, creating soft shadows that drift across the sky. These filaments may someday collapse into new star-forming regions, but for now, they drift in gentle patterns shaped by magnetic forces and the slow rotation of the galaxy. You glide through one of these filaments, and the light around you dims in a soft, comforting way. The darkness inside the dust feels warm and quiet. Flecks of faint light peek through from stars beyond, creating tiny points of brightness within the shadowed lane. As you move forward, the filament begins to thin, allowing the glow of the surrounding spiral arm to return gradually. Ahead, you see a wide region filled with glowing clouds of gas and small pockets of star formation. These clouds stretch across the spiral arm like distant hills covered in morning mist. Some glow faintly in soft pinks and purples. Others shine in pale gold and subtle teal. Together, they form a gentle palette that colors the arm in peaceful tones. You drift toward one of the glowing clouds. As you approach, its colors become clearer. The outer edges are smooth and rounded, while the inner folds twist in delicate shapes. Inside the cloud, stars are forming slowly from the cold gas. They are still hidden from view, wrapped in dense dust that shields their newborn light. Only the faintest hints of their heat escape into the surrounding cloud, giving the inner regions a slight, warm glow. Leaving the cloud, you glide into a region where the spiral arm becomes broader and more open. The stars here are spaced widely apart, and the darkness between them feels deep and soothing. This open part of the arm acts like a calm valley in the galaxy, a transition zone between busy star-forming regions and quieter stretches of interstellar space. As you drift through the calm valley, you notice small, scattered gas clouds drifting slowly across your path. These clouds are wispy and delicate, almost transparent. They glow faintly when the light from distant stars shines through them. Each cloud moves at its own slow pace, shaped by the subtle gravitational forces across the spiral arm. Though they appear fragile, these clouds can remain intact for millions of years. Farther ahead, the spiral arm curves more sharply. You can see the starlight thickening again, where the arm loops inward toward the galactic center. The broad, glowing sweep forms a natural corridor that leads you toward one of the most recognizable regions of the Milky Way. This corridor feels welcoming, like a gentle pathway winding through a peaceful forest. Following the curve, you begin to see a faint increase in the number of bright blue stars. These young stars mark the presence of more active regions of star formation. Their light is crisp and clean, shimmering against the soft background glow of the arm. They appear scattered at first, but as you travel deeper, you see that they form loose groups, each one glowing with fresh energy. Among these groups is a striking star-forming complex. It glows brightly in multiple colors, ranging from soft rose hues to deep blues and rich gold. This complex stretches across a large part of the spiral arm, like a glowing mural painted across the sky. You drift closer, drawn by its calm, luminous beauty. Inside the complex, the light becomes richer. Clouds of gas fold in on themselves like gentle waves. Blue stars illuminate the surrounding dust, creating bright pockets of color. In contrast, certain regions appear dark and mysterious, hiding cooler clouds where new stars may be forming. The balance of light and shadow creates a sense of depth that feels soothing and immersive, like gazing into a warm, glowing landscape on a quiet evening. Beyond the complex, the arm becomes less crowded again. The starlight fades into long stretches of calm darkness. You drift through this quiet region slowly, letting your mind and breath settle back into an easy rhythm. The dark spaces between stars create a sense of peace that spreads through the entire spiral arm. Gradually, a gentle glow begins to rise once more, this time from a different region of the galaxy. You are approaching one of the minor spiral arms, a smaller yet beautifully structured segment that branches off from the main pattern. This arm is more delicate, with fewer stars, but the ones that shine here are spread in elegant curves that create a graceful shape in the dark. You drift toward the minor arm, letting its soft structure guide you forward. The transition feels calm and natural. Each part of the galaxy leads smoothly into the next, forming a continuous flow from the inner core to the outer disk and beyond. As you settle into the minor arm, you sense that the next part of your journey will reveal another layer of the Milky Way's quiet splendor. The starlight ahead glows softly, welcoming you to continue through the galaxy's peaceful, unfolding story. The minor spiral arm unfolds before you like a gentle pathway winding through a quiet meadow of stars. Its curves are more delicate than the major arms, and its starlight is softer, spread across the darkness in thin, elegant waves. As you drift deeper into this region, the environment feels spacious and calm, with long stretches of serene darkness punctuated by clusters of stars that glow with warm, steady light. This part of the Milky Way has fewer massive stars, but that gives it a peaceful atmosphere. The stellar populations here are older and more settled. Many of the stars glow in soft gold and pale orange tones, their surfaces cooler and quieter than the vibrant blue stars of the younger regions. Their light feels comforting, like lanterns gently illuminating a quiet shoreline at dusk. You drift calmly between these warm stars, watching their light reflect in subtle ways across the dust in the minor arm. The dust here is thinner and more spread out, creating lighter shadows and softer transitions between bright and dark. The patterns formed by these materials are intricate, but the mood remains peaceful. Nothing feels busy or turbulent. Every part of the arm moves slowly, shaped by the gentle pull of the galaxy's rotation. As you glide farther, you begin to notice small, circular gaps in the starlight. These gaps are not empty. They hold faint, translucent clouds of cool gas that hardly glow at all. These clouds have not yet been stirred by nearby stars, so they remain calm and undisturbed. They drift through the minor arm like quiet, floating islands in a vast, star-filled ocean. Within one of these calm clouds, you see a few fragile filaments that twist like wisps of smoke. These filaments form naturally as gas is pulled into subtle shapes by shifting gravitational flows. They are delicate, almost transparent, catching only the faintest hints of starlight as you pass. Their softness adds to the gentle character of this region, emphasizing the minor arm's slower pace and quiet nature. Leaving the cloud, you drift toward a brighter patch in the arm. Here, the starlight becomes a little richer and more concentrated. This region holds a small, open cluster, one of the few areas in this arm where star formation has occurred more recently. The cluster shines with a combination of older golden stars and a handful of younger white stars that glow with slightly stronger light. The mixture creates a calm, balanced glow that fills the surrounding space in warm radiance. You approach the cluster and drift through its outer edges. The stars here are scattered with gentle spacing, each one maintaining its own quiet orbit around the cluster's center. Their movements are subtle and slow. The entire structure feels steady and timeless, as though it has been drifting through the galaxy in peaceful harmony for hundreds of millions of years. As you continue drifting along the minor arm, you notice subtle signs of the galaxy's larger structure influencing the stars here. The minor arm gently arcs toward one of the major arms, forming a smooth transition zone that connects the two. The stars begin to grow slightly brighter. Nebulae appear with soft colors that spread across the sky in small, gentle patches. The environment feels like it is slowly becoming more vibrant again as you merge into one of the larger, more active regions of the Milky Way. You follow the curve of this transition, letting the growing light guide you. Ahead, the major arm rises like a broad, luminous ridge stretching across the disk. This arm is richer with gas, dust, and star-forming regions. The difference is subtle at first, but becomes more apparent as you drift deeper. Stars become more densely packed. Nebulae grow larger and more colorful. The soft background glow thickens into a steady river of starlight. As you merge fully into the major arm, your surroundings brighten gently. The spiral pattern becomes clearer. The arm's graceful curve is defined by streams of stars that sweep through space like soft strokes of light painted across a dark canvas. The density is not overwhelming. It simply feels fuller and more structured, like entering a part of the galaxy where starlight has gathered more closely over time. As you drift deeper, you notice a broad band of soft pink light stretching across the arm. This is an emission nebula, brighter and more active than the ones in the minor arm. The gas here glows with warm colors, illuminated by clusters of young stars hidden within. Some parts of the nebula appear almost like drifting petals, gently curling outward in wide, graceful shapes. Other areas form delicate, rippled layers that look like slow-moving waves. You enter the nebula from its faint outer edge. The light becomes hazy around you, filtered through drifting clouds of dust and thin gas. The colors shift slowly, blending from pink to lavender, then to pale blue. You drift deeper into the cloud, following the faint glow of newborn stars that lie at its center. Their light is soft and warm, spreading through the nebula like a gentle fire glowing beneath layers of fog. Moving out of the nebula, the spiral arm opened up again into a region where stars are spaced in elegant arcs. These arcs follow the shape of the density waves that give the spiral arms their structure. The arcs are not perfectly uniform. They ripple slightly, creating variations in brightness and creating subtle patterns across the sky. As you drift along one of these arcs, the stars seem to form a path that curves through the galaxy with graceful ease. Ahead, you begin to see small bubbles formed by past generations of massive stars. These bubbles mark places where stellar winds pushed gas outward, shaping the surrounding material into smooth, rounded shells. Some bubbles overlap, forming layered structures that resemble the soft contours of rising hills. The starlight inside these bubbles glows with a warm hue, filling the space with a deep, tranquil radiance. You glide through the interior of one bubble. The space feels open and echoing, yet entirely calm. The walls of glowing gas curve gently around you. The light is not intense. It is soft, like the glow of a lantern covered by a thin cloth. The bubble feels like a quiet chamber inside the arm, a brief sanctuary shaped by the long history of star formation. Leaving the bubble, you drift into another active region, this one shaped by a combination of dust lanes and bright clusters. The dust lanes stretch across the arm like long, dark rivers. They wind between the stars in elegant, sweeping patterns. Their darkness is not heavy, but velvety and smooth, absorbing light in a way that reveals the fine structure of the spiral pattern. Beside these lanes, clusters of stars glow brightly, illuminating the edges of the dust. Their combined light casts soft highlights across the surrounding material, creating beautiful contrasts between light and shadow. Some clusters form tight, rounded shapes. Others are more spread out, with stars arranged loosely in long strands. Each one has its own quiet personality, shaped by the conditions in which its stars formed. You follow the path between two broad dust lanes, where the starlight grows richer. Ahead, you sense the gentle pull of another transition point in the galaxy's structure. The spiral arm begins to curve inward once more, guiding you gradually toward the region where the Milky Way's inner disk becomes more prominent. The light there appears thicker, warmer, and more golden. The density of stars begins to increase again in a beautiful, gradual way. The transition feels like gliding from a quiet countryside into a softly glowing city at night, where the light is warm and inviting rather than bright or overwhelming. You drift toward that growing radiance, ready to enter the next peaceful chapter of the Milky Way's luminous story. The warm glow ahead expands gently as you drift along the spiral arm, guiding you toward the inner regions where the galaxy becomes richer, denser, and more luminous. The transition feels smooth and natural, like floating from a quiet shoreline into deeper, calmer waters that glow softly beneath the surface. The starlight thickens with each moment. Nebulae become more vibrant. Dust lanes grow broader and more textured. And everything seems to blend into one long, peaceful canvas that stretches across the Milky Way. As you glide closer to the inner disk, the density of stars gradually increases. They gather in soft clusters and wide fields that shimmer with warm colors. Golden stars dominate this region, their surfaces glowing steadily after billions of years of calm nuclear fusion. Their gentle warmth fills the space around you in a way that feels comforting and familiar, like drifting through a lantern-lit valley. Among these older stars, you also see brighter white stars that shine with fresh clarity. These younger stars add subtle highlights to the broad golden glow, creating a balanced and soothing palette across the sky. The combination of young and old, bright and soft, gives this region a serene, timeless feeling. It is a part of the galaxy where generations of stars overlap, sharing the same peaceful stretch of space. As you travel deeper into the inner disk, dust lanes begin to appear more frequently. They weave between the stars like dark rivers, absorbing their light and creating long, shadowed paths that stretch across the spiral structure. These lanes are thicker here, made of dense grains that have formed over billions of years from the remnants of ancient stars. Their presence adds depth and texture to the inner disk, giving it a dramatic yet gentle beauty. You drift along one of these dust lanes, and the starlight dims slightly as the thick grains absorb the light behind them. The darkness feels soft, not heavy. Hints of golden light filter through from stars beyond, creating tiny sparkles that move gently as you pass. The dust grains drift quietly around you, pulled along by slow galactic currents. Their motion is subtle, almost imperceptible, yet it adds to the feeling that everything in the galaxy is flowing softly in its own long rhythm. Leaving the dust lane, the starlight brightens once again. You emerge into an area where the inner disk opens into a wide field of glowing clusters. These clusters are older and more stable than the ones in the outer arms. Their stars have had time to spread out into loose, spherical shapes, no longer bound tightly as they were in their youth. They form gentle, open patterns that shimmer and fade as you drift through them. Farther ahead, you notice a broad region filled with warm, golden light. This is one of the inner stellar fields, a vast area where stars gather in high numbers. The field stretches across the disk like a soft, glowing plane made of countless points of light. You drift into it slowly, letting the warmth of the starlight settle around you like a calm blanket. The stars appear both scattered and unified, creating a peaceful balance between openness and abundance. As you glide between these stars, you notice subtle variations in color and brightness. Some stars glow in deeper orange tones, nearing the later stages of their long lives. Others shine with pale, steady white light, younger and more energetic. The variety creates a quiet harmony that fills the entire field. Nothing feels out of place. Every star contributes to the gentle radiance of the region. Eventually, the field begins to thin slightly, and you sense that you are approaching one of the more structured pathways of the inner disk. A faint, luminous band stretches across your vision, marking the location of another spiral arm that sweeps toward the galaxy's core. This arm is illuminated by a mixture of older stars and younger clusters. Its light forms a calm, glowing corridor that leads deeper into the Milky Way. You drift into this corridor, following its smooth curve inward. The starlight becomes warmer as you move closer to the center. The density of stars increases again in a gentle gradient. The inner regions of the Milky Way have a rich glow that comes from billions of older stars packed together in a balanced, luminous structure. Their combined light seems to ripple like soft waves across the galactic disk. As you drift along the corridor, you begin to see large patches of gas and dust illuminated by bright clusters. These areas glow with warm shades of gold, rose, and soft orange. They are not as intense as the star-forming regions of the outer arms. Instead, they have a mature, refined warmth that feels steady and peaceful. These clouds are shaped both by the gravity of the inner disk and the slow, gentle pressure of starlight that has been building for billions of years. Ahead, the corridor opens into a wide, glowing expanse. This is one of the inner star-rich regions, close enough to the galactic center to feel the strong gravitational influence of the core, yet still within the structured spiral pattern. The light here is bright enough to fill the space around you with warm, golden tones. The stars seem to stretch endlessly, forming a gentle haze that softens the edges of the disk. As you pass through this luminous expanse, you notice faint waves of light drifting across the region. These waves are produced by the combined motion of billions of stars moving in slow, coordinated orbits. Their collective movement creates a subtle, shimmering effect, almost like sunlight dancing across the surface of a calm sea. It adds a sense of quiet motion to an environment that otherwise feels still. In the distance, you begin to see long, smooth arcs of light growing brighter. These arcs form the inner edges of the spiral arms that curve tightly around the galactic bulge. Their shape is crisp and elegant, more defined than the outer arms. You drift toward one of these arcs, feeling its glow grow stronger as you approach. The inner spiral arms are some of the brightest regions in the Milky Way, shaped by the gravitational pull of the core and by the density waves that sweep through the disk. As you glide closer, the stars grow denser. The glow becomes richer. The starlight blends into a warm, golden field that stretches all the way to the horizon of the disk. You have reached the inner circle of the galaxy, where the arms gather around the central bulge like luminous rivers flowing toward a bright, ancient heart. You slow your drift, taking in the quiet magnificence of the inner Milky Way. This is the threshold of the galactic core, a region shaped by billions of years of star formation, gravitational movement, and cosmic evolution. The light is warm and soothing. The space feels calm and full. Ahead, the core waits with its soft, ancient glow, ready to reveal the next peaceful chapter of the Milky Way's story. The warm radiance of the inner Milky Way gathers around you as you drift closer to the brilliant region that surrounds the central bulge. The light here feels ancient and steady, shaped by billions of years of glowing stars that have gradually filled the heart of the galaxy with a deep golden glow. The closer you move to the core, the smoother and more unified the starlight becomes, blending into a soft field that stretches across the horizon like a luminous sunrise seen from a quiet mountaintop. As you approach, the stars around you multiply. They gather into dense groups, creating a rich tapestry of color and brightness. Their light overlaps, softening into gentle waves that ripple across the galactic plane. Some of these stars are enormous and bright. Others are small and faint. Yet together they form a serene glow that feels warm and calming, like the gentle flicker of countless candles placed in a peaceful sanctuary. You drift into this star-rich region, moving slowly between the glowing spheres of ancient suns. Many of the stars in this part of the galaxy are old giants, nearing the later stages of their long lives. Their surfaces radiate deep, warm tones of red, orange, and gold. Their slow, steady brightness adds a soothing warmth to the environment around you. These stars have been shining since the earliest ages of the Milky Way, their light carrying the quiet history of the galaxy within it. Among the warm giants, you also see clusters of smaller, younger stars. These stars glow with pale white and soft blue tones. Their presence adds gentle highlights to the surrounding field, creating a balanced mixture of colors. The young stars remind you that even in the older regions of the galaxy, new life continues to emerge slowly and quietly, shaped by the gentle currents of gravity. As you drift deeper, you begin to sense a subtle shift in the structure of the space around you. The inner regions of the Milky Way are not flat. They have a rounded shape, curving upward and downward as the spiral arms merge into the central bulge. You glide along this curve, following the natural rise of the disk as it leads you toward the heart of the galaxy. The surface of the bulge appears as a dense, glowing sea of stars. From your vantage point, it rises like a golden hill, glowing softly at its summit. You drift toward this hill at a gentle pace, allowing its warm light to settle across your vision. The bulge is thicker than any part of the disk you have traveled through. Its stars are packed closely together, yet even in their abundance, the atmosphere remains peaceful. As you approach the outer layers of the bulge, the stars form wide, sweeping patterns. Their orbits curve in graceful paths shaped by the immense gravity of the central region. The light becomes richer, and the darkness between the stars grows faint. Everything blends into a golden haze that surrounds you on all sides. You drift into the bulge, letting the warm light fold around you. The density of stars increases, but the stars themselves feel gentle and calm. Their combined glow fills the region with a sense of stillness. The light is soft enough to feel like a warm blanket. It's strong enough to reveal the subtle structures of the inner galaxy. Here, the stars move more quickly than they do in the outer regions, but the motion does not feel rushed. It feels steady and purposeful, as though the entire bulge is rotating in a slow, continuous rhythm. This rhythm has been part of the Milky Way for billions of years, guiding the motion of stars and shaping the structure of the galaxy from the inside out. As you drift between the stars, you begin to sense the presence of the galactic core itself. It lies ahead, hidden beneath layers of bright, ancient light. The core is not a single object, but a dense region where stars, gas, dust, and gravitational forces converge into a concentrated, luminous heart. You continue toward the core, following a gentle gradient in light that leads you deeper into the bulge. The stars grow brighter. Their spacing grows tighter. The background glow becomes silky smooth, forming a warm field that feels both serene and powerful. This is the transition zone where the bulge begins to merge with the innermost regions of the galaxy. Eventually, a subtle clearing appears in front of you. The starlight becomes less scattered but more intense, blending smoothly into a broad glow that radiates from the deepest part of the core. You are entering the central region known as the nuclear bulge, a tightly packed area dominated by ancient stars and the gravitational influence of the supermassive black hole that rests at the heart of the Milky Way. You drift slowly into the nuclear bulge. The light here is the brightest you have encountered on your journey, yet it remains warm and soothing. It feels almost like drifting into a glowing cloud, where the stars are so numerous that they blend together into a smooth golden fog. You can still distinguish individual stars when you look closely, but their light mixes into a continuous, soft radiance that fills the entire region. As you move deeper, the gravity becomes more noticeable. It does not pull you sharply. Instead, it creates a sense of gentle inward motion, as though everything in this region is flowing toward a quiet center. That center is Sagittarius A, the supermassive black hole that anchors the Milky Way. Though invisible itself, its presence shapes the movement of stars throughout the nuclear bulge. You drift closer, but always from a safe and comfortable distance. The bright glow of the surrounding stars masks the darkness of the black hole, creating a calm and balanced environment. The stars near the core move in fast, sweeping orbits, but from your perspective, their paths seem smooth and graceful. They curve around the core like dancers in a vast, silent performance. The motion of these stars creates subtle ripples in the surrounding light. Their graceful orbits form patterns that repeat over long periods, creating a sense of rhythm in the core. Some stars follow elongated paths that carry them close to the black hole before drifting far out again. Others follow more circular orbits, forming delicate rings of starlight around the core. You watch these movements for a while, letting their slow patterns calm your thoughts. Their orbits carry a sense of timelessness. They have been moving along these paths for millions of years, guided by the steady pull of gravity and the quiet structure of the galaxy. As you drift just outside the innermost orbiting stars, the golden glow becomes even smoother. The environment feels quiet, balanced, and deeply restful. This close to the center of the Milky Way, everything moves according to long-established patterns. There is no chaos, only the calm choreography of stars following their ancient paths. Ahead, a core glows with a warm intensity that fills the region with soft light. You remain at a peaceful distance, feeling the quiet presence of the supermassive black hole, but untouched by its pull. It anchors the galaxy gently, shaping the orbits of billions of stars, including the Sun itself, far out in the spiral arms. You drift in the soft radiance of the core for another moment, absorbing its calm and ancient light. Then, slowly, you begin to glide outward again, ready to explore the next serene chapter of your long journey through the Milky Way. You drift gently away from the central core, carried by a soft outward motion that feels natural and steady. The dense golden glow begins to thin as you move through the surrounding layers of the nuclear bulge. The stars are still bright and numerous, but they gradually grow more spread out, allowing the darkness between them to deepen once again. This transition feels smooth and soothing, like gliding from a warm, sunlit room into the cool, quiet air of an early evening. As you drift farther outward, the glow of the core remains behind you, casting a warm, gentle illumination across the region. Its presence feels steady and reassuring, like a distant fire that continues to provide warmth even as you travel away from it. The stars here follow wide, looping orbits that bridge the space between the core and the broader bulge. Their movements form graceful arcs that help bridge the transition between the inner and outer zones of the galaxy. You move through this region at a slow, floating pace. The stars around you vary in size, color, and brightness. Some glow with deep orange tones, marking their age and long lifetimes. Others are pale and soft, nearly white, their surfaces still warm from more recent stages of star formation. Each star feels quiet and patient, contributing its small piece of light to the larger glow of the Milky Way. Soon, the density of stars decreases further, and the space around you begins to open up. You are leaving the nuclear bulge and entering the broader central region of the disk once again. The spiral arms here curve closely around the bulge, creating elegant pathways made of starlight. These paths sweep outward in long, flowing arcs that carry stars through the galaxy in slow, rhythmic revolutions. As you glide along one of these inner spiral arms, you can feel the influence of the galactic center behind you. The gravity of the core shapes the structure of the arms, guiding them into smooth, sweeping curves. The stars in this region move with quiet purpose, influenced by both the spiral density waves and the central pull of the core. The starlight here glows with warm tones, though not as bright as the nuclear region. The colors shift gently between pale gold, warm white, and soft orange. Dust lanes weave between the stars, forming delicate shadows that give the inner disk its layered, textured beauty. These lanes create subtle patterns across the sky, like thin, drifting brushstrokes stretching between regions of glowing starlight. As you travel deeper into the inner arms, you pass areas where the dust grows thicker. These regions absorb more of the starlight, creating soft pockets of shadow that contrast gently with the glowing fields around them. Some of these pockets contain faint traces of gas, slowly gathering under the influence of gravity. Over millions of years, these pockets may collapse to form new stars, contributing fresh light to the inner disk. You drift along a wide corridor of starlight that curves smoothly through the spiral structure. The corridor forms naturally along the inner edge of the arm, where the density of stars is higher and the light blends into a soft, even glow. Moving through this region feels like gliding along a quiet, glowing river that flows steadily around the galactic center. Ahead, you notice larger pockets of gas illuminated by clusters of bright white stars. These clusters are younger than many of the surrounding stars, and their strong light shapes the surrounding gas into smooth, glowing shells. These shells form gentle curves that resemble ripples spreading across the surface of a tranquil lake. Their soft shapes blend with the broader glow of the arm, creating patterns that shift slowly as the galaxy rotates. Leaving these luminous shells behind, you glide into a quieter section of the inner disk. This region holds older stars that glow with warm, steady light. Their colors are deeper, ranging from soft gold to pale orange. Their long lives have brought stability to this part of the galaxy. They move through their orbits calmly, unaffected by the energetic bursts of star formation that occur in younger regions. As you drift deeper into the quiet zone, the starlight becomes lighter and more diffuse. The stars are spaced farther apart, allowing the darkness between them to spread gently. The environment feels peaceful and balanced, like floating through a calm valley after passing through mountains full of dramatic shapes and vibrant colors. You allow your breathing to slow a little more, letting the stillness of the region settle into your mind. Slowly, the inner disk begins to open into broader structures. The spiral arms become less tightly wound, spreading into wider curves that extend farther toward the outer regions of the galaxy. The light grows softer as the pathways widen. You are drifting into a transitional region where the inner arms stretch outward and begin to merge slowly with the calmer areas of the mid-disk. As you follow this smooth transition, you notice small, delicate filaments of dust that drift above the plane of the disk. These filaments form when gas and dust are lifted slightly by gravitational interactions or by soft waves of energy moving through the spiral arms. They hang in the space above the disk like thin, gently twisting ribbons. Their presence adds depth and grace to the region, enhancing the layered structure of the galaxy. Below you, the spiral arms continue to shine. Their shapes are still clear, but they feel more spacious now. The bright clusters of the inner regions have begun to give way to wider, calmer stretches of stars. These calm areas are filled mostly with golden stars of moderate age. They glow with steady warmth, forming a soft background light that extends through the mid-disk. You drift into one of these calmer stretches, following its natural flow. The stars here shine with relaxed steadiness, creating a peaceful atmosphere that feels gentle after the bright intensity of the core. The light blends into a warm haze that expands across the region. Dust lanes cross the field in smooth arcs, adding subtle texture to the broad expanse. As you travel, you begin to notice the faint presence of gas clouds that lie farther from the central region. These clouds are cooler than those near the core, and they emit a softer light. Their shapes are wide and smooth, like distant rolling hills. They drift through the disk at a leisurely pace, influenced by the rotation of the galaxy and the slow, steady movement of stars around them. You glide past one of these clouds. Its outer edge is thin and translucent, glowing faintly with reflected starlight. Inside, the gas thickens in soft, layered patterns. Though the cloud is calm now, it may one day collapse into new stars, continuing the cycle of light that has shaped the Milky Way for billions of years. Beyond the cloud, the mid-disk expands into even broader stretches. The spiral arms begin to spread apart, and the starlight becomes more diffuse. The environment feels spacious, balanced, and calm, like drifting through a wide-open plain under a soft, starry sky. The patterns of the inner galaxy fade gently behind you, while the broader, gentler structures of the middle Milky Way emerge ahead. You continue drifting outward along this tranquil path, letting the slow rotation of the galaxy guide you, ready for the next quiet chapter of your luminous journey through the Milky Way. The mid-disk stretches around you in a gentle, expansive sweep. It feels open and peaceful, like drifting across a vast, starlit plain. The spiral structure is still visible, yet it has relaxed. The arms are broader. Their curves are softer. The bright clusters of the inner galaxy lie behind you now, replaced by long stretches of calm starlight and wide fields of warm golden stars. As you drift deeper into this region, you notice how evenly the stars are spaced. There are no dense clusters here, no brilliant flashes or intense colors. Instead, the light flows in a steady, soothing way, like a softly glowing mist spread evenly across the galaxy. These stars are middle-aged and stable. They shine consistently, without the intense activity of their younger counterparts, or the dramatic pulses of older red giants. Their light brings a sense of balance and quiet harmony to the mid-disk. You move gently between these stars, appreciating the calm atmosphere they create. The darkness between them is smooth and velvety, providing peaceful contrast to their warm glow. This balance of light and shadow makes the region feel restful, like floating through a quiet countryside that stretches endlessly in every direction. As you drift farther, faint clouds of gas start to appear around you. These clouds are not thick enough to form bright nebulae, yet they add subtle texture to the space. Some glow softly with reflected starlight. Others appear as gentle shadows that drift across the mid-disk. These clouds move slowly through the galaxy, shaped by gravitational tides and the quiet motion of the stars around them. One large cloud appears ahead, its shape smooth and rounded. You glide toward it, feeling the light dim slightly as the cloud filters the starlight. Inside, the gas is diffuse and calm. The colors shift subtly between pale grays and faint blues. Thin threads of dust wind through the cloud, forming delicate swirling shapes. These threads are remnants of ancient star-forming material, now stretched thin over millions of years by the slow rotation of the Milky Way. Leaving the cloud behind, you drift into a region where the stars are spaced widely apart. The space feels vast and airy, giving you a sense of the galaxy's immense scale. Even though you are still deep in the disk, the openness here creates a feeling of gentle solitude. The stars appear like distant lanterns, scattered across a wide, peaceful field. As you move forward, you begin to notice subtle ripples in the density of stars. These ripples are formed by long-lived waves that travel through the galaxy. They are not visible in the same way the spiral arms are, but their presence influences the flow of stars and gas. These waves create areas where stars gather more closely together, followed by regions where the stars spread thin. The result is a soft, rhythmic pattern that shapes the mid-disk in quiet, gentle cycles. You drift along one of these ripples, following its graceful curve. It guides you toward a slightly brighter region of the disk. The change is subtle at first. Then the starlight begins to deepen in color and intensity. This brighter area marks the presence of a small, loosely defined arm segment. It is not as structured as the major arms, but it contains enough stars and gas to form a gentle arc that stretches across the mid-disk. Entering this arc, you see stars arranged in smooth, flowing patterns. They glow with warm white tones and subtle golds. Their light blends into the surrounding space with ease. Dust lanes sweep around them in thin, curved lines, adding faint shadows to the scene. The arc feels like a quiet side path that branches naturally from the major arms, carrying its own small stream of starlight through the calmer parts of the galaxy. As you move through the arc, you spot a small, open cluster nestled within it. Its stars shine softly, forming a loose, rounded shape. The cluster is older than many others you have seen. Its stars no longer burn with the bright blue light of youth. Instead, they glow with gentle golds and warm whites, their surfaces calm after long ages of steady burning. You glide through the outer edge of the cluster. The stars drift in wide, relaxed orbits, giving the cluster an airy, spacious feel. A soft haze surrounds the group, created by faint dust reflecting their light. The haze adds a dreamlike quality to the region, making the cluster feel like a floating lantern drifting through the mid-disk. Past the cluster, the arc broadens again, spreading into a wide plain of stars. The density remains gentle, never overwhelming. Each point of light maintains its own small pocket of space, creating a balanced field of luminous dots that stretches as far as you can see. The mid-disk carries a quiet dignity. It is not dramatic or intense, but it holds a steady, peaceful glow that brings a sense of timeless calm. Farther ahead, faint hints of structure begin to reappear. The spiral arms that once seemed distant begin to reveal themselves again in soft patterns. The mid-disk transitions gradually toward the outer regions, where the spiral arms become more clearly defined once more. You can see broad, curved paths forming ahead, illuminated by scattered clusters and long strings of starlight that arc gracefully through the disk. You drift gently along these emerging paths, following their natural pull. The stars here are more youthful than the ones you have just passed. Their light is slightly brighter, their colors a little clearer. This region sits between the quiet mid-disk and the more active outer arms. It acts as a bridge between the two, blending their characteristics in a soft and balanced way. As you move deeper into this transitional area, you notice glowing patches of gas forming between the stars. These patches are not intense enough to become full nebulae, but they hint at gradual changes in the density of the spiral arms. The gas glows softly when illuminated by nearby stars, suggesting the potential for future star formation. Their presence marks the beginning of the galaxy's more dynamic outer regions. You allow yourself to drift toward one of these glowing patches. Its light is faint and smooth, spreading softly across its edges. Inside, the gas is cool and calm, drifting slowly through space. It feels like the earliest stage of something that may one day become a bright and active part of the galaxy. Leaving the patch, you glide into a widening corridor of starlight. The corridor stretches outward in a long, gentle curve that leads toward the larger spiral arms. The stars become more scattered, the darkness grows deeper, and the shapes of the arms begin to form clearly once again. Their presence brings a sense of direction and flow to the space, guiding you toward the outer reaches of the galaxy, where the Milky Way's structure becomes more defined. The faint beginnings of these spiral arms shimmer ahead of you like gentle tidal streams. You drift toward them slowly, letting the calm rhythm of the galaxy carry you forward, ready for the next peaceful chapter of your journey through the Milky Way. The faint shimmer of the outer spiral arms becomes clearer as you drift along the widening corridor of starlight. Their soft curves appear like gentle waves rising from the darkness, each one shaped by the slow rotation of the galaxy and the subtle pull of gravity. These arms are broader and more open than the inner ones. Their stars are spaced farther apart, yet they still form graceful arcs that stretch across the vast disk of the Milky Way. As you approach the first of these outer arms, the starlight begins to brighten in a gentle, subtle way. Soft white stars and warm golden ones blend together to form a delicate, luminous band. Dust lanes wind between them in smooth, shadowed lines. These lanes are thinner than those in the inner regions, and they move with a lightness that makes them feel almost like the drifting trails of clouds across a late evening sky. You drift into the outer arm, letting the calm radiance wash across your view. The stars here feel young compared to those in the mid-disk, but they are not as concentrated or energetic as the stars in the inner arms. Their light has a soft clarity that feels refreshing and peaceful. Some stars shine with bright white tones. Others glow with pale blues or warm golds. Their colors form a gentle mix that gives the outer arm a soothing atmosphere. As you drift farther into the arm, you begin to see larger pockets of gas illuminated by the light of clusters scattered throughout the region. These pockets glow in soft hues of pink, lavender, and pale peach. They are calm nebulae, not intense or turbulent. Their shapes are rounded and smooth. They drift slowly along the arm like glowing clouds carried by a gentle cosmic breeze. You glide toward one of these glowing clouds. From a distance, it appears like a soft, hazy lantern suspended in the sky. As you approach, its structure reveals itself in layers. The outer edges are faint and translucent. The inner regions glow more strongly, lit from within by clusters of stars that have recently formed. The gas folds in smooth patterns, with curves and ridges shaped by the slow movement of starlight and wind. You drift into the cloud's outer fringe, where the light is gentle and muted. The nebula absorbs the brightness of the stars inside, turning it into a warm, diffused glow. The gas moves in slow currents, curling around itself in shapes that resemble flowing fabric. Each fold and ripple forms over millions of years, changing so gradually that the process feels more like stillness than motion. Leaving the nebula, you continue along the spiral arm. The starlight stretches into long, smooth cascades that lead you through the region like quiet streams guiding you through a forest at twilight. The arm rises and falls gently as the galaxy's warp becomes more pronounced in the outer disk. This gives the space a feeling of soft undulation, as if the entire region were floating on a slow-moving tide. As you travel, you pass through an area where the stars form thin, winding patterns that seem to twist and branch into smaller strands. These structures are called spurs, delicate extensions that break off from the main arm and weave through the disk. They contain smaller concentrations of stars and gas arranged in intricate shapes that add texture and variety to the outer galaxy. You glide between two of these spurs, watching the starlight scatter in quiet, delicate patterns. The space here feels open and spacious, with long stretches of darkness between each star. Yet the darkness does not feel empty. It feels calm and deep, giving you room to breathe and drift without being overwhelmed by bright clusters. Farther ahead, you notice a faint but distinct arc of light. This is another segment of the outer arm, curving gently beneath you. Its stars appear slightly younger than the ones you have just passed. Their light has a crisp, clear quality. Some glow with a soft blue tone, indicating their youth and heat. Others shine with pale gold or white, marking the stable Middle Ages of their long lives. As you move closer, you see that this part of the arm contains several small star-forming regions. They glow with subtle colors, their shapes softly rounded. These regions represent gentle waves of star birth, not the dramatic bursts seen in more active parts of the galaxy. Their light feels calm, like the flicker of early morning light touching the edges of clouds. You drift into one of these regions. The gas glows faintly around you, colored by the ultraviolet light of young stars nearby. Threads of dust swirl through the cloud, creating soft shadows. The shapes inside the region are broad and smooth, shaped by long, slow processes. You float through the gentle haze, feeling the calm of the cloud settle lightly around you. Leaving the region, the spiral arm becomes broader once again. The starlight thins, allowing the dark spaces between stars to stretch further. This balance of light and dark creates a serene atmosphere that defines the outer Milky Way. Everything feels open and unhurried, shaped by slow galactic motions that take millions of years to unfold. You follow the curve of the arm as it sweeps outward. The stars grow thinner still, becoming gentle markers along the path. The outer galaxy has fewer stars overall, but those stars shine with a quiet, resilient beauty. They seem to hang in place like tiny lanterns marking the outer boundary of a vast, peaceful realm. As you drift near the edge of the spiral arm, the space begins to feel even more spacious. The dark stretches lengthen as the density of stars decreases. The arm gradually dissolves into faint, scattered traces of starlight, like the fading trail of a long, forgotten river. Beyond this point lies the outermost region of the disk, a place where the Milky Way begins to blend into the surrounding halo. You drift toward this threshold, rising slightly above the plane of the disk to take in the view from a higher vantage point. Below you, the spiral arms form elegant, glowing curves across the disk. Their structure is clear and beautiful, even from this far out. The outer arms stretch gently toward the edges of the galaxy, while the inner arms wrap closely around the bulge. The entire disk appears like a vast, glowing flower floating in the darkness. Above you, the halo begins to appear once again. Its stars are faint and few, shimmering softly like distant glints of silver against the black. Their presence marks the boundary of the galaxy, a quiet region that surrounds the bright disk with a subtle, ancient glow. You drift toward this boundary, ready to explore the peaceful outermost edge of the Milky Way in the next quiet chapter of your journey. You drift toward the quiet boundary, where the Milky Way's bright disk begins to merge into the soft, ancient glow of the surrounding halo. The stars here grow sparse and widely spaced, creating deep pools of darkness that stretch between points of gentle light. This outermost region feels open and vast, almost like standing at the edge of a great ocean at night. The galaxy lies beneath you in a wide, luminous sweep, while the space ahead opens into the calm, endless silence of intergalactic space. As you move farther from the disk, the starlight below becomes smoother and more unified. The spiral arms blend into long, graceful curves. The central bulge appears as a warm, golden glow near the heart of the galaxy, softened by distance. From this height, the Milky Way looks delicate and serene. Its structure is clear and elegant, shaped by billions of years of slow, patient motion. Above you, the halo expands in all directions. Its stars are extremely old, shining with faint silver tones that flicker softly against the deep black. These stars have drifted far beyond the disk, over immense stretches of time. Some were born in dwarf galaxies long ago, later captured by the Milky Way's gravity. Others formed in the early ages of the universe, surviving as ancient beacons scattered throughout the galaxy's outer envelope. You glide among these halo stars, feeling the quiet stillness that surrounds them. Their light is subtle but steady. They move in long, looping orbits that do not align with the flat plane of the disk. Instead, they trace elegant paths that tilt and twist through three-dimensional space. These orbits give the halo its distinctive diffuse shape, surrounding the Milky Way like a faint, shimmering sphere. Far below, the disk continues to rotate slowly, the spiral arms drifting wide arcs. The stars move in gentle, coordinated motions. From this distance, the rotation of the galaxy appears almost like the turning of a soft, glowing wheel suspended in the dark. The effect is calming, as if the whole galaxy were breathing in slow, peaceful cycles. As you travel deeper into the halo, you encounter long, delicate streams of stars. These stellar streams form graceful ribbons that sweep across the outer regions of the galaxy. They are made of stars that were once part of small companion galaxies or clusters. Over billions of years, the Milky Way's gravity gently pulled them apart, stretching their stars into long, curving trails. You follow one of these streams, drifting alongside its faint line of silver stars. The stream twists in a smooth arc, then bends into a soft spiral before fading into the darkness. Each star in the stream glows quietly, moving along the same path, sharing the same ancient origin. Their collective motion feels peaceful and timeless, like watching a trail of drifting fireflies lingering in the night. As you leave the stream, the halo becomes even quieter. The space grows darker, with only occasional glints of ancient stars. The emptiness here is gentle, not cold or lonely. It carries a sense of openness that invites you to breathe deeply. The soft glow of the galaxy below provides a steady sense of direction and warmth. You drift outward until the full shape of the Milky Way becomes visible below you. The spiral arms form a wide, elegant disk. The central bulge sits like a glowing heart. The halo surrounds it like a faint, shimmering shell. In the vast darkness beyond, you can sense the presence of distant galaxies, each one glowing faintly like small lanterns scattered across an endless field. Their light is too far away to illuminate your path, yet their presence adds depth to the cosmic night. Turning back toward the Milky Way, you descend slightly, moving closer to the outer rim of the disk. The stars here glow with a soft, steady brightness. They form long arcs that circle the galaxy at its edge. The outer rim feels like a quiet border between the calm halo above and the structured spiral arms below. As you drift along the rim, you notice faint traces of gas and dust that extend beyond the disk. These thin clouds stretch outward in gentle curves. Some are remnants of tidal interactions with small companion galaxies. Others formed from material lifted by ancient bursts of star formation. They drift slowly through space, forming delicate bridges between the disk and the halo. Beneath you, the disk gradually thickens as you approach a region where the spiral arms begin to overlap. The starlight grows stronger. Soft golds and pale whites blend into a warm, calm glow. The pattern of the arms is still visible, but the details blur slightly as the edges of the disk spread outward in wide, gentle waves. Passing through this region, you begin to drift back toward the upper surface of the disk. The stars grow slightly more numerous. The darkness between them becomes thinner. You are approaching the transitional zone where the outer disk meets the mid-disk once again. This region serves as a quiet shoreline between the deep halo above and the glowing sea of stars below. You descend gently into this zone, letting the soft starlight wash around you. The stars are spaced in smooth, flowing lines that follow the outer curve of the Milky Way. They move in long orbits that take hundreds of millions of years to complete. Their slow, steady motion gives the region a calm, drifting rhythm, almost like the gentle rocking of waves against a quiet coast. As you glide deeper into the disk, you begin to sense the familiar warmth of the spiral arms returning. Their soft curves and luminous structures rise to meet you. The starlight becomes richer, yet never overwhelming. The dust lanes weave gently between the arms. The gas clouds shimmer faintly. Everything feels balanced, peaceful, and beautifully arranged, even at the outermost edge of the galaxy. You move with the slow rotation of the disk, drifting along its outer curve. The light from the nearby stars blends with the faint glow of the halo above. The two sources of illumination merge into a serene mix of silver and gold that surrounds you with soft radiance. The galaxy seems to cradle you as you travel, holding you gently within its vast and ancient structure. Ahead, the stars begin to form a faint arch. This arch marks the outer boundary of the next region you will enter. It curves like a soft gateway between the halo and the disk, inviting you to drift through and continue your peaceful journey. You move toward that glowing arch, ready to follow the Milky Way's final quiet paths as your journey nears its gentle close. You drift gently through the glowing arch at the outer edge of the Milky Way. It curves behind you like a soft, luminous doorway, slowly fading as you move deeper into the calm space just inside the rim. This region feels peaceful and open, a quiet borderland where the galaxy stretches outward into smooth, gentle curves. The starlight grows softer here. The darkness broadens. The pace of everything seems to slow, as if the galaxy itself is taking a quiet, steady breath. As you move forward, the spiral structure beneath you becomes a wide, delicate pattern. The arms no longer appear intense or sharply defined. Instead, they flow into one another like long, silken ribbons drifting across a calm sea. The light from billions of stars bends into a soft golden haze that fills the disk with warmth. This glow rises gently through the thinner layers of the outer regions, creating a calm, soothing radiance that surrounds you on all sides. You let yourself drift with the natural rotation of the galaxy. The movement is slow and smooth, carrying you in a gentle arc along the outer disk. Stars below you pass in long, graceful sweeps. Dust lanes form faint, dark curves that give shape to the glowing mist. Everything moves together in harmony. Nothing rushes. Nothing disturbs the peace. Ahead, you notice a slight thickening of starlight. The stars here glow a little warmer, forming a soft ridge that stretches across the outer disk. This ridge marks one of the Milky Way's outer patterns, a place where stars gather loosely as they move through gentle, long-lived waves of gravity. You glide into this ridge and feel its quiet stability settle around you. It feels like resting your hand on a warm stone or sinking into a comfortable blanket on a cool night. You drift through the ridge and continue along the disk, following its curve toward a region where the starlight begins to thin again. The darkness becomes deeper, but it never feels empty. The stars that remain in this region appear as tiny points of light, each one shining with a quiet strength. They remind you that even in the most distant parts of the galaxy, the Milky Way continues to glow with calm and steady presence. As you travel, the faint silver glimmer of the halo appears once more above you. It blends gently with the soft gold of the disk. This combination of colors creates a peaceful twilight effect that fills the space with a sense of stillness. You breathe slowly, matching the calm rhythm of the galaxy around you. Each breath feels lighter than the last, as though the quiet of the Milky Way is sinking into your body and mind. You drift slightly upward now, rising above the plane of the disk. As you ascend, the shape of the galaxy becomes clearer once again. The spiral arms stretch outward in long, elegant arcs. The central bulge glows with steady warmth. The outer regions form delicate curves that sweep gently toward the halo. From this vantage point, the Milky Way feels like a great, luminous tapestry, woven from starlight and quiet darkness. You rest in this view for a moment, letting it settle into your thoughts. The galaxy moves so slowly that its rotation is almost impossible to sense, yet over millions of years it turns with perfect patience. The stars drift in long paths. The gas clouds reshape themselves in gentle flows. The structures of the galaxy shift in rhythms too slow to see, creating a sense of timeless calm that washes softly through your mind. As you hover above the disk, the warm light of the Milky Way begins to feel like a safe, comforting glow beneath you. The starlight seems to rise toward you like the soft shimmer of a quiet lake, illuminated by moonlight. The core glows like a distant hearth. The arms form gentle waves. The halo softly frames everything in a faint silver haze. You drift slowly downward again, descending toward the disk with calm, steady motion. The starlight thickens around you, warming the darkness with its soft glow. The stars appear like scattered lanterns guiding your path. Their light becomes smoother and more unified as you approach the outer arm once more. You settle into the quiet space between two broad lanes of starlight. This region feels like a peaceful walkway winding through a glowing garden at night. The stars form loose clusters that shine like small blossoms of light. The dust lanes curve between them like gentle pathways. Everything feels balanced and calm. You drift deeper into this glowing passage, moving slower and slower. The movement becomes barely noticeable, like the soft rocking of a drifting boat on a still lake. The starlight dims slightly. The colors soften. The galaxy seems to wrap around you with warm, comforting presence. Your breathing becomes slow and smooth. Your body feels lighter, as though the weight of the day has dissolved into the soft darkness between the stars. Each inhale brings in the calm of the galaxy. Each exhale releases any lingering tension left in your mind or your muscles. The gentle glow ahead begins to fade into a smoother haze. The shapes of the stars grow softer. The darkness grows deeper, but never cold. You feel yourself drifting into a quiet space where light and shadow blend into one calm, unified glow. This is the soft border where the Milky Way's light becomes a simple, peaceful presence, no longer divided into arms or clusters or dust lanes. Just one warm, gentle radiance. You allow yourself to float there, held gently by the quiet of the galaxy. The starlight surrounds you like a soft blanket. The darkness beneath it becomes a cushion of silence. Everything feels still. Your thoughts grow slower. Your body feels heavier in the most comfortable way. The rhythm of your breath becomes steady and deep. The vast calm of the Milky Way settles over you, guiding you toward rest. You drift a little more, then a little more, gliding gently into the softest part of the night. The stars blur into a warm glow. The darkness stretches out like a peaceful ocean. Every part of you relaxes. If sleep is ready to take you, you can welcome it now. You are safe, held by the quiet arms of the galaxy, drifting through starlight and calm. And if your mind continues to drift for a little longer, the Milky Way will keep you company, its soft glow carrying you gently toward rest. Settle into the quiet. Breathe slowly. Let your body sink into comfort. The stars will watch over you,